Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Arsenal podcast right here in Vancouver, Canada. And we are going to talk about Arsenal nil. Actually, Man City 1, Arsenal nil. And it is a very eventful game. A lot of build up to it as well. And the game itself was rather, I would say, it was quite entertaining in a way. I felt like we could have probably done a little bit more. But at the same time, I'm not very disappointed. I just see this as a friendly game. Again, we still have two more games to go against Man City, home and away in the Premier League, and today it's just only an FA Cup. Honestly, in other years in the past, we would have probably focused a lot more in the FA Cup. But for today or for this season's occasion, I'm okay with going out of the cup. Which means I spent $19. Was it 19? No. 35 Canadian dollars just to watch two games. And right now I can officially cancel the membership with Sportsnet. Again, it's not a very good deal, but the fact that I can watch two games in the FA Cup, and I think that's enough, to be honest. Right now I can probably cancel the subscription. I don't need to watch that anymore. Arsenal's not in the competition anymore. But simply this game was, I don't know how to describe it, to be honest. I felt a little bit of a mixed feeling. Coming to this game, I thought it's okay to lose. It's there's so much other things that we should focus on. And of course, the one thing that we want to focus on is the Premier League. And we cannot deny that. Going out of the Carabao Cup, it's a blessing in disguise. Look at Manchester United. They were playing they play against us last week. A few days later, playing Nottingham Forest in the first leg, and of course they got a much easier leg compared to a Newcastle or even Southampton. But you know what? I can see that United have a chance to win the Carabao Cup. Good for them. But at the same time, there are so many unnecessary fixtures that I feel like Arsenal should be avoiding based on the squad depth that we have. I don't think we are at that level yet. While our performance has been superb for the past few games, but I think overall with the whole how do you say this? With the whole squad depth, I just don't think Arsenal is simply at that level. When you look at Manchester City, they put out a very strong starting 11. Having Haaland playing up front, Kevin De Bruyne, Mahrez, Jack Grealish, Rodri, Gundogan, and pretty much they have put themselves in a very strong starting 11. And compared to us, we make 6 changes compared to the game against United. Of course, the big one in topic was pretty much Rob Holding against Erling Haaland. It was a very tough matchup. But it has to be done. I know some of them wanted some game time. And you know what? If they ask for it, this game is the game where they have to shine. They have to show themselves why they should be part of the squad in the next few years. And of course, Matt Turner finally making an appearance after 2-3 months. I remember he was injured at one point I think against PSV. And then later on against Brighton away, Brighton at home in the Carabao Cup. He was fit to start, but Arteta gave the first opportunity for Karl Hein. And of course, we all know how that turned out to be. But Matt Turner came on again. I think he's a very good backup. 29-year-old, a American international. Of course, he had a great appearance. I think he had a great tournament in the World Cup. But you know what? Coming back into Arsenal, it's a different topic. It's a new level of playing style. Of course, he's a great shot stopper, and he proved that during the World Cup. And right now, it's more important to prove why he should be a very competitive number 2. And today, I think he did that. I think he had a very good game. He done all the basics, of course. His passing, his distribution is quite limited, and nobody blames him for that because he's not that type of player. But you can see he kind of get more comfortable with the ball. But other than that, his judgment coming out from the goal when it was 50-50. I remember there was one where Rob Holding just kind of let the ball roll behind Erling Haaland as well, and Matt Turner came out. I think that was perfect, to be honest. That was a perfect opportunity for Matt Turner to come out, even though it was kind of a scuffed clearance, but it was good. It was good. It was good enough for Erling Haaland to go for a bicycle kick. But other than that, there were a few chances in the second half where De Bruyne, Jack Grealish was, they crossed the ball in the middle. And Matt Turner, you can see, if you watch the highlight once again, you can see that Matt Turner kind of anticipated the ball crossing around his area. And again, he's a brilliant goalkeeper. The fact that he anticipated the cross, punched it out with his left arm the majority of the time was honestly really, really good. And the goal that we conceded, honestly, I hardly blame anybody in that goal. That was a good finish by Nathan Ake. Maybe a little bit of sloppy defending in that play, but other than that, I don't think Matt Turner was to blame for any part of today's game. And honestly, if we somehow won this game, I would certainly think that he might be the man of the match. I think he played very well. And yeah, let's talk about other people in this game. Again, a game where nobody cares. I don't want to care. I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans don't, just want to get rid of this game. Either you win it or you lose it. That's fine as long as you don't, as long as you don't draw the game. That's it. Because certainly we do not want to face against Man City again. Plus, I think I read something about how they are going to put the rematch or the replay, if it happened in the week of February 15th, was it? Something like that, I think. Or February 13th to February 20th, because we were playing Man City already in that week at home. But it's so unnecessary if we have to replay them in the cup and then we have to play them again in the Premier League. But honestly, losing this game, it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm sure the majority of the Arsenal fans are okay with it. And at the same time, we have different fan base. United, City, Liverpool, Chelsea were, laughing Arsenal. Oh, we're out of the two of the competition already. But honestly, we don't really care, to be honest, because we only have one cup in mind, and that is one trophy in mind, which is the Premier League. And right now, it's a perfect opportunity. Since we lost this game, we can put everything behind and move forward and try to finish this January transfer window strong with the signing of two, which I will talk about that later. And again, FA Cup, we are still the record holder, 14 of them. Potentially this year we could have probably making it as a 15, but squad depth is certainly not in the conversation, not in discussion at all. So it's fine. Losing 1-0. And again, the last time we played at the Etihad Stadium was 2021 August, losing 5-0, having Pablo Maria at the back and Rob Holding at the back certainly kind of gave a lot of Arsenal a little bit of a nightmare, a traumatic flashback. But honestly, losing today wasn't even the worst thing in the world. Plus, we only lost that one goal, and perhaps in the first half we played really, really well, exceptionally well. I wasn't expecting. We got a few shots off Trossard and Ketia and Tomiyasu as well, which we're gonna go through the play by play later. But you know what, the fact that I had a little bit of a fear where, it's okay to lose, but at the same time I don't want to lose by 3-4 goals. But losing 1-0 in the end was good enough. I like it, to be honest. Sucks that we lost, but at the same time it's not the end of the world, because we have other things that we want to focus about. So going to this game, first half was good, was way above average. Of course, there's a little bit of sloppiness here and there, but it's just kind of you just kind of anticipated it. You kind of predicted that because we didn't field our the stronger starting 11. Again, 6 substitutes came on. Saliba was on the bench. Odegaard was on the bench as well. Martinelli was on the bench, but this game was perfect for Leandro Trossard to mark his name. And honestly, I think he did very well. I think in the first half, the brightest player we see on the pitch was him. And there's so many plays where he was running down the left hand side, kind of toying Nico Lewis on the right back area, and somehow John Stones pulled his hamstring, which was a terrible news, but he had been causing a lot of problems. He had a shot with his left foot again. In certain situation, I felt like Trossard has done a much better job compared to Martinelli. Again, Martinelli, it's quite indirect a lot of times where it's quite predictable with his movement, with his focus, concentration. But with Leandro Trossard, again, quite unpredictable with the ball, and that's how he got the first shot, second shot of the game. But before that, I think he created a chance where Tomiyasu just kind of, what a goal it would have been if he scored that one. That was kind of a half volley off the ground. He was kind of free, smash it, but Ortega, the City's substituted or the City's second choice goalkeeper, made a great save, strong hand as well. And we made a lot of good shots. We made quite a lot of good chances as well. Of course, Eddie Nketiah could have probably have a chance right there, but again, Trossard, great delivery, but Nketiah was just a little bit clumsy with that finish. Certainly, if he in a year or two, hopefully, if he plays day in and day out, I certainly believe that he is going to finish some of the goals similar to what happened in today's game. And Rob Holding, I thought it was going to be a comedy. That's how I thought. When you put Rob Holding and Erling Haaland together in the same sentence, together in the same scenario, it is quite of a comedy act. Again, Erling Haaland has scored 31 goals across all competition, and Rob Holding, I believe this is possibly his 8th start for the club, or for the club this season. And we all have to flash back where he got sent off in the first half against Spurs last season. We kind of get that as well. The fact that he was, I know his job. His job was pretty much manhandle Erling Haaland. And I think he did okay. There's so many moments where I thought, he was actually getting bullied. Again, there's that one play where he kind of got his shirt pulled by Haaland and just kind of misjudged the through ball, and of course Matt Turner came out of his line, and that was about it. But of course there were a bit shaky moment as well. But Rob Holding, we all know that he is not good enough for the team. He's a good character within the dressing room, but I don't think right now this is a team that he's going to stay for the rest of his career. He is 27, was it 20? He's 27, 28-year-old. There's no way he is going to continue, this path with Arsenal. And I remember 2 seasons ago, or even last season, there was an offer coming in from Newcastle trying to sign Rob Holding. We decided to keep him because arguably Rob Holding was our best player. Best defender in the club at one point. And I remember there was a time where I think his second or third season for Arsenal, I think he played very well at one point, but unfortunately, I think it was Emery's first season with Arsenal. I thought Rob Holding was solid, to be honest. I thought he could be a regular, but unfortunately he tore his ACL. I still remember that. But again, I felt like at that moment of play, or at that moment of his career before that ACL injury, I felt like, he could probably progress, much better defender. But injury didn't do him any good, regardless. And of course, the playing style that we have uh, has completely threw him away from the team. But at the same time, he is a good courtesy player. When we're winning by 1 goal, the defenders are, I mean, the other team was pouring everybody up front, crossing in the middle. Then sure, having a Rob Holding in the end was probably something that a very sensible thing to do, and that's his job for for the last 2 seasons for Arsenal. But he's falling out of favor for sure. And at the same time, I'm not surprised he is going to be leaving the club by the end of the season, going somewhere for probably 5 million. Again, we bought him for 2 million. I thought he was a decent player, but at the same time, with all the bad or traumatic flashback in the past with how he handled Son against Spurs, but you know what? He also had some bright moment before a one-on-one with with the top players. For example, is it Diego Costa? Diego Costa again in the FA Cup final. I think Rob Holding did pretty well, to be honest, but we were hopefully gonna get that vibe from Rob Holding, and I think he was very shaky for the first 20 minutes. We all know he's not good enough, but then later on he picked up a yellow card, and I thought, you know what, we have to take him out. We have to take him off as soon as possible. After the halftime, he has to be taken out. And I think for the last 10-15 minutes, I think Rob Holding did fine in the end. His job was pretty much done. His job was literally manhandling Erling Haaland, and he did that. So his job was done, and we just put on Saliba, and I think Saliba did great as well. But Rob, his time with the club is pretty much over, but we all have to thank you for his service. I don't know if we're going to see him again with the uniform, to be honest, with the Europa League coming up. But again, if we somehow win the league, a game or two early, then we might be able to see his shirt again. Or again, we somehow winning by 1 goal in the last 5 minutes, you will see him again in the uniform. But other than that, in normal circumstances, I don't think we will have a chance to see him play for the club again, which is a very hard thing to say. But at the same time, this is the reality of how our team has transformed from Wenger era to Emery and to Arteta. And the first half was doing fine, to be honest, and then second half came in, Sambi Lokonga coming out. Oh, there's another whole new conversation about Sambi Lokonga. You all know that I have always tried to support Sambi because he's very young, 21, 22-year-old, coming from Anderlecht, and of course got some great words, great advice from Vincent Kompany, saying that he's the next real deal, but not really for him, isn't it? The way how we play, it's just quite frustrating because taking Partey off, which is quite a concerning moment because we thought he might be injured, but turns out he was fine. He came back from the tunnel, sat on the bench after being taken off. He looks fine. Apparently, what I heard or what I saw from Twitter, where he got a bang on his rib, was just precautionary, which is, again, I would rather taking Partey off at that moment than having him on the pitch without knowing what's happening, with his body. But Samuel Lokonga coming on again, I think he's a decent player. I know he has a great potential ahead of him, but the way we play, it certainly does not fit him at all. Honestly, if we sell him to another Premier League club or any other club who plays more of a conventional center midfielder area, I think Sambi Lokonga could probably thrive on that. But other than that, I don't quite see him. I don't quite see him in the Arsenal jersey for a long time. Again, taking Partey out, and the fact that our ball retention rate has been poor. We could barely get any interception in the middle. We could barely have any possession in the middle as well after Partey is gone, which shows that finding another center midfielder right now at this moment is very, very important, which we are going to go over that later in this podcast. But Samuel Lokonga, again, I don't think it's good enough. No matter how much I try to back him game by game, every time he came on the pitch, it's just really tough to watch. Again, I don't think he made any like big mistake. Honestly, maybe the first goal he could probably close in the gap between himself and also Ake, but other than that, off the ball is still very very off. Positioning is just it's just horrible, to be honest. We all saw there's one moment where Odegaard was very frustrated, but we don't see Martin Odegaard being that frustrated. And the fact that Odegaard was frustrated at Sambi to a point where he was like swinging his arm and committed a foul, which shows that Sambi in a way has to be gone because it's not up that level yet. And you can see there's a massive gap between Rodri or Gundogan or Bernardo Silva, and that was the dangerous part of where City is going to start to play. And you can see that Sambi just kind of drags into the back five area when he should be probably, closing the gap with Gundogan and Bernardo Silva, but he simply did not do that. And we conceded the first goal. That's fine, to be honest, but and then we saw a surge of resurgence at one point, wanting to score again, wanting to find the back of the net. We came close a few times, but it was not really good enough. Vieira, I think that's fine again. I think again he's still trying his best to adapt to the league, and today it's pretty much his first 90 minutes of play for a while, and I think he did fine, to be honest. And there's a volley that he was going for it. I appreciate that effort, but probably he would have probably take a touch and go for it from that play. But you know what? I love having a central attacking midfielder who is quite adventurous in terms of how he go for a shot. I think that is something that I can still see Vieira, could develop that type of player. Good on the ball. He has to be strong on the ball as well, which is something that he still needs to work on. But his shots, I don't think I have any problem with that. I think he's a much better shooter than Martin Odegaard, and we all know that Martin Odegaard has scored a few bangers already. But I felt like overall, Vieira has that type of a flair in him in terms of long shot. But Vieira did fine. Saka, I think he had a pretty quiet game, but I don't blame him at all. Just the different teams around him with Tomiyasu again right behind him, and of course the chemistry just kind of lost a little bit because Tommy was pretty much out of the team for a while with this injury, and of course Ben White at that point was being play ahead. And of course, the dynamic between Tomiyasu and Saka is a little bit, unstrange, which is fine, to be honest. And I think Tomiyasu did pretty good in this game. The fact that Erling Haaland didn't score in this game was, shows a very good improvement. At the same time, we all know that we have a capability to win. I know we lost this game. There's no excuse, right? I mean, City in the end turns out to be a much better team than we have. But at the same time, we do have to acknowledge the fact that we don't have our strongest 11, and the fact that we could, suppress Erling Haaland, and also Kevin De Bruyne is also a good sign as well. The fact that we still have the capacity to fight. That's all that matters. And compared to last season where we lost 5-0, that game was pretty much where we just can't fight at all. So you guys probably know what I mean. And this game, we have a few chances again. Having pretty much us and Man City had a head-to-head competition again. Something that we all want to see. It's not like conceding the first goal and then we somehow conceded like another 2-3 goals. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Instead, we have the heart, we have the hunger to fight back, and we saw that in the last 20 minutes. But at that moment, the game was pretty much over, which is totally fine. But losing to Man City 1-0 doesn't hurt the majority of the Arsenal fan. Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing that we lost, but we would love to continue in this journey. But there's a much more important event, important cup, important competition ahead of us, which is the Premier League. Europa League at this point, it's fine, to be honest. Losing, getting knocked out in the Europa League in the round of 16. It's fine, to be honest. But right now we just gotta gather everything together and hopefully going for the Premier League. And moving on to Moses Caicedo from Brighton. We received the news 9 hours ago where Chelsea submitted a 55 million bid, and later on Arsenal submitted a 60 or 65 million bid for Caicedo, and which instantly 20 minutes after the news was announced, they rejected it. Brighton rejected it. I think Arsenal and Brighton had a very good history in terms of the transfer between players. We got a pretty good deal for Ben White when we look back. It might not be a very good deal because of the price, but turns out it was all worth it. And Leandro Trossard already, the first player that we signed in the January transfer window from Brighton. Caicedo could be the second player. It's going to be our third player to be signed, but second player that Brighton has sold to Arsenal, and I don't know if Brighton is going to do that deal, to be honest. And there's a very strong determination where Brighton are unwilling to let Caicedo go in this transfer window. And literally 10 minutes ago, Caicedo posted a statement on his Instagram saying that it's pretty much submitting a transfer request. And I think that's a much better method than what Mudryk did a few weeks ago, where you don't toy with other teams around with the emotion and stuff like that. You don't take a photo, you don't post it on your story about it, but instead being public about your desire to play elsewhere. And I think Caicedo made a good move, I think. But I'm sure at this point where I don't think Arsenal certainly do need a center midfielder. Thomas Partey. We just can't risk him at this point, right? And El Neni is going to be out for the rest of the season, and I'm sure if he is out of the rest of the season, then I don't think we are going to see El Neni in the Arsenal jersey again. Even though we have an option to trigger a 1-year extension, but I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest, guys. I think he is going to be finding other clubs in the summer. And the fact that we're already kind of lining up for the next midfielder in mind. We have Declan Rice, who is going to be available in the summer transfer, but not in this January transfer. And of course, there are a few players that we linked in the midfield area. That is something that we're going to sign, to be honest. Players that we're going to sign is a midfielder. And of course, we received news from Spain. We might sign a right back, Ivan Finesta. I think that's how I pronounce his name, Finesta. So, but I haven't heard about that deal for a while, so I don't think we might be getting him. But Cedric seems to be leaving. I think it's a here we go already. Maybe a little bit of final details needed to be sorted. But other than that, I don't think right back it's a priority at the moment. But at the moment right now, has to be a new center back coming in. I know we could probably strengthen the attack again. Haven't talked about Emil Smith-Rowe. Again, he has a slight strained thigh. And hopefully, I think this game would have been a great opportunity for him to come back out of the injury. But I just don't know about his injury issue at the moment, which we're going to talk about him by the end of the season because he can't carry on like that. So yeah, the central midfielder area is going to be a fun one to discuss. We have link with a Portuguese side, Victoria. I think his name is Ibrahim what? Oh, I forgot his name. I'll just call him Ibrahim. 20-year-old, I think 20-year-old, 21, 20-year-old, a Italian center midfielder. He looks really good on videos. Again, only on videos. And we have a link with Onana from Everton, but he is going to stay with Everton throughout the whole season. But the next possible player we're gonna sign is Caicedo, and Chelsea has already made contact with Caicedo already, but it all depends on Caicedo's personal preference at this point. But I'm not ready for another bidding war with Chelsea. We knew how that one went. It went horribly, of course, but in the end, we got a much better option compared to Mudryk at the moment. But we certainly do need another center midfielder. Hopefully, Caicedo will be our next signing, and we have approximately today, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. We're 5 days until the end of the January transfer window. We gotta sign somebody at this point. We have money. We have considerable amount of money. We only spent 40 million already, and we still have approximately 50, 60, 65 million to spend, or maybe more. I'm sure the Kroenkes has to back Arteta at the moment. There's no way the price is right in front of you. We have all the resources behind, and we don't use them. We don't utilize them well properly. They have to do something with the money. They have to sign somebody. We just need reinforcement. We have 19 more league games to go, and some Europa League. Thank God Carabao Cup is gone. FA Cup it's gone. And it's just only 2 more competition, and I don't mind getting knocked out early in the Europa League, but what we have to do is to maintain the consistency, maintain the intensity, frequency, any C in the game to get that trophy home again. You will never know in your life where you're gonna win a trophy, right? Like the Premier League, the last time Arsenal won the Premier League was 2003, 2004. I was only 5. I wasn't even watching Arsenal back then, right? So, and for the past 20 years, yeah, it's been miserable. I've been memed at a lot. I've been laughed at a lot being an Arsenal fan. But this season, after winning this season, I don't know when I'm gonna watch, or I don't know when I am going to I'm gonna witness Arsenal winning the league again. Like, you will never know, to be honest. But we are we still have a lot to do. We still have 5 more days to go in the transfer window. We gotta sign somebody, as I said. I'm sure Arteta, the scouting department, the board, and also Edu have a sleepless run in the next few days. We gotta find replacement. Right now, Caicedo is a perfect opportunity. He handed in the transfer request. It's between Chelsea and Arsenal now. Let's see if Chelsea is gonna hijack the deal. It's either Chelsea's gonna hijack the deal or Arsenal going to hijack the deal. Hopefully, for redemption purposes, I hope Arsenal's going to hijack the deal and sign Caicedo. He is not going to be cheap for sure, but right now, an average player has to cost 30, 20, 30, 40 million. But Caicedo, with his a great future ahead of him. I saw a few videos again, and I saw a couple of clips from him, or a couple of games from him this season for Brighton. I think he is a very special talent. And what's funny is in my Brighton career mode, he was kind of falling out of favor. He's our fifth. He is our fifth center midfield at the moment. So I might probably have to do something with that. The fact that how I'm going to use him in FIFA. But we will have to see in that series. But thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Like this video, like this podcast, like this video. Subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys in a bit.